Greetings, welcome back. What I'm about to go over is the first set of instructor questions that you will need to answer. And I want to go over these so you have an understanding of what I'm looking for. And I'm going to do this for every set of instructor questions that we have. I will post these instructor questions, but I do hope that you have them next to you so that you're prepared to engage with me on these questions so that once we're done with this video, you can answer these questions and submit them directly to me and be done with this assignment. So let's start off with number one. Number one says a criminal defendant is arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The suspect is taken to Eastern Regional Jail for booking. During the booking process, the following things can be observed. 1, the suspect's shirt is bloody. 2, the suspect's fingernails look dirty, but the substance is not identifiable. 3, the suspect's lip is busted. 4, there appears to be bite marks on the suspect's neck. What should the booking officer do upon observing these things? There are no laws that specifically say what to do here. There is no rule of evidence that says what to do here. What there is rules of evidence that are going to potentially keep this information out. So as the police officer or the booking officer in the situation, you need to answer this question in such a way that you prepare this evidence so that it can be ready for trial. So that a defense attorney, let's say me, for example, being the defense attorney, I don't look at this information and say, this is not coming in, especially with regard to maybe the suspect's shirt's bloody. I may try to find a way to suppress that so that you can't put the victim's blood on my client. If I can do that, I have started to create the whole that is going to be the reasonable doubt that I argue for in my closing argument. So I want you to put yourself in that position and think, I need to preserve this evidence. How am I going to do it? Detail it here. There's no right or wrong answer. Number 2, what should an officer generally do first? Book the suspect into jail or present the suspect to a judge to determine if there is probable cause to incarcerate the suspect until a trial. Give an example of each one when it would be appropriate to do that one first. Here's what I'm saying. There's not a right or wrong answer here. There's going to be situations where you can only book the suspect first because the magistrate's not available or prosecutor's not available to initiate the charges, all depending on the state. What I want you to do is create a factual scenario. I want you to tell me what you think you might encounter based upon what the book says, what you've seen in your academic career, what you know, what you can find through research. Answer this question according to that information. Make sure that you cite appropriately using APA format to answer this question and all the questions, including number 1. Number 3, assume you are working on the case in question number 1 at the request of the state district attorney. The state assistant district attorney has asked you to research the required elements of first-degree murder. Explain where you would research for and where you could find the required elements for murder. There is a correct answer for this. Now, there are multiple ways to get to the correct answer. There's multiple answers you could give. That's what I'm trying to say. But there are wrong answers. That's what's important. Your book gives a lot of really good detail on where you could get this information on research. You can also research it yourself. And if you do some research on yourself, you might be able to determine where you could find it. Number 4, assume in your research you discover a need to obtain a statement from the suspect to support the charge of first-degree murder. You go to Eastern Regional Jail where the suspect is being held to speak to him, only to discover that the suspect has invoked his right to an attorney. If the attorney informs you that they cannot be at the jail until tomorrow, what should you do? This is at this point, this is more of a common sense question for a lot of criminal justice students. You should understand what this suspect has done at this point in time. We have not gone over this information in the book yet. But when in doubt, what should you do? Answer the question based upon what I've told you in this lecture and what this question tells you. Number 5, the jury returns a verdict of guilty of first-degree murder. What is the next criminal procedure step? And then in that next step, what information is usually gathered to complete the next step, and how is it presented to the court? Who is generally charged with gathering the information and presenting it to the court? My one clue to you, Chapter 3. Look there right now. Answer the question based upon what Chapter 3 says. I look forward to hearing your responses. I look forward to reading them and working with you on these responses. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.